Okay. Okay. It is now 4:30. Seeing as we have a quorum, I'd like to call this meeting of the Valley Center-Pauma Unified School District Board of Trustees to order. We will now into closed session, and then we will reconvene in public session at 6 p.m. District Board of Trustees at this time, and we have nothing to report out of the closed session at this time. I will now turn this over to Mr. McCown for explanation of our Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes, thank you and good evening. Thanks for being here at our board meeting tonight. With Veterans Day coming up tomorrow, we'd like to do something a little special at our meeting tonight. I'll kind of lay it out for you and then we'll get it started. We're going to start off here in a minute with the playing of our national anthem by our own Mr. Jeff Beck, who is our band and high school, middle school teacher. And then after we do that, I have a couple of really special guests here tonight for us, the four gentlemen over to the side who are all veterans and have all played a role working with the students in Valley Center-Pauma Unified School District, and I'll introduce them and then they will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So, as we get started, the first thing I would like to do is to have all the veterans in the room please stand up. So if you're a veteran, would you please stand and be recognized? And I'm not sure if we have any active military. Do we have any active military that would like to, that we could have stand? Oh, okay. How about parents of active military people?
Can you stand on?
And now would you all please stand and join me as we hear the playing of our national anthem. You can be seated for a second while I introduce our veterans over here. Our first veteran that I'd like to introduce is Mr. Mike Adams. Mr. Adams, would you please stand? Mr. Adams, he was a commissioned officer in the Coast Geodic Survey, oceanography work, and mapping along the ocean floor. He was a lieutenant junior grade. He served 3 years. And for our school district, he has been on since the very beginning as a parent supporter and then came on as a board member and served 2 years as our board president. So, Mr. Adams, we'd like to thank you for your service. Next, we have we'll just keep you standing if you don't mind, Mr. Adams. Next, I'd like to introduce Mr. Mike Barnett. He is a chemistry teacher here at our high school. Mr. Burnett served 10 years in the U.S. Army, and he didn't put this on here, but he was a bomb diffuser. Is that the right way to say it?
No.
No.
What did you do again?
I was a medic.
Oh, I don't know how I got my story. I apologize. I thought you were one. Anyways, he was a medic, and he also has a son that is now serving in the military. Mr. Adams has been a BITSA teacher for us. He's done the meteorology club, the weather station, the seismic station. Really just helped out everywhere on campus, along with teaching teaching geography, or now I'm going to get real mixed up. Physics as his main course. Next, we have Mr. Chris Devers. Mr. Chris Devers was the chairman of the Pauma tribe at one point. He served 4 years in the military. He also was our first freshman baseball coach when we opened. And if I remember right, which I haven't done yet tonight, he was a catcher's coach with us and helped the varsity catchers also. Is that correct?
A little bit of everything.
Has spent many years supporting our children throughout Valley Center, whether it be through baseball or here at the high school. And then our last person that I have is a teacher that I have worked with for many years and one year shared a classroom with, Mr. Don Martin. Mr. Don Martin served 4 years in the Coast Guard during the Vietnam conflict. He also taught at Orange Glen High School and was on the dream team that opened up Valley Center High School originally. He spent about 6 to 8 years, I think it was, as our ag teacher up here, and also then joined the school board and also served as the school board president and has been a contributor throughout Valley Center-Pauma Unified School District and the community. So for the 4 gentlemen standing up there again, once again, I'd like to thank you for your service, not only to our military, but the continued service you've given to our communities. And I just encourage everybody else out there that, you know, tomorrow when you find somebody that is a serviceman or woman who's either a veteran or currently serving, is to thank them. You know, we have a great system here where we can have a public school board meeting and that we can hold a meeting like this in a free country and our kids get a public education for free. And that doesn't come free. And so we want to say thank you to our veterans. And I would now like to turn it over to our 4 veterans to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Would you please stand? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you guys are welcome to stay at the board meeting. We do have gifts for you on the way. Where are they at? Right up here. So we want to give you a bag real quick. And it has, one thing I'd like to share is our 25-year anniversary for our school. Oh, right over here.
Oh.
So one of the things in the bag is a 25-year anniversary shirt for Valley Center High School. And the back side, and what you guys really have shown throughout the years, is doing my part. And we want to thank you guys for doing your part. So thank you again. And I'm not sure how to tell you to get one of these shirts because I haven't figured it out yet.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you for your service in honor of Veterans Day. At this time, we'll move on to the approval of the agenda, additions, deletions, or corrections. Do I have a motion to do so?
Also move.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed with the vote. Member Benjamin?
Aye.
Member Heredia?
Aye.
Member Polito?
Aye.
Member Stroh?
Aye.
Member Adams votes aye. And at this time, I turn over to Ron for some presentations.
So normally we start right out with our school presentations, but we have a very special presentation tonight, and you can see Mrs. Jonna Jenkins up there. She is our food service director. And so Jonna, could you please come up, and Mr. Adams, I'm going to have you go to meet her at the podium with the... So a couple of things about Jonna real quick, and she was awarded this award, and I'll let Mr. Adams read what it says there on the podium.
Well, I know that Joanna, you are someone you don't always see up front because she's been in charge of food services and got us through COVID and everything. And sit over here, right over next to me. And she's been a real hero in this school district, I have to tell you, and she is so appreciated. But this is from the California School Nutrition Association, the whole state. The Honorary Merit Award is presented to Joanna Jenkins in recognition of and appreciation for your outstanding commitment and service to the children of California and to the CSNA, presented in October 2022 in Pasadena, California. This is a state honor, and we are honored that Valley Center-Pauma has it. Nice, huh? Yes, you deserve a standing ovation. Say a few words?
I guess. Well, I want to thank Valley Center-Pauma Unified School District, as a community. I came here 13 years ago, and I probably didn't know what I was doing. But with a great staff and great leadership, I was able to do a lot. And I feel like when I got here, people just thought of Valley Center as this faraway place. And I wanted to change that reputation that we had, that it was just too far to come to, too far to visit, too far. And I just wanted to put us on the map in a good way. And I hope I did it. I want to thank everybody, teachers, principals, the students, the parents, everybody. You're all a part of this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done.
While Jonna's getting her picture taken over there, we just had a few words to say. And one of the things that Jonna did that put us on the map, and I know Jonna will tell you it was her team that did it, and it was a team effort, but we were actually put on the map in California because of the free lunch and dinner handouts we did during the COVID times when our families desperately needed food. Jonna took the program, got as much food as we possibly could for all of our community members, and then the handout process that she put into place and that her team worked together was just outstanding. And the number of meals that we handed out over a year was like top as far as our student body goes in our community. So Jonna, you did put us on the map in very positive ways in different areas, and so we do thank you for your service with us.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Okay. At this time, Veronica Ruiz has presentations from Valley Center Primary and her recognitions.
John. Good evening, President Adams, Superintendent McCowan, and members of the board. It is an honor to recognize Jonathan Harford as Valley Center Primary's Certificated Employee of the Month tonight. Joining John tonight is his wonderful wife, Paige. John has been a dedicated educator in our district for 25 years, teaching in a multitude of grades and subjects, from kindergarten through 8th grade. After a brief leave of absence, John returned to our district as a music specialist. And for the last 8 years, John has brought the gift of music to our students. I wish we had John all to ourselves at primary, but John splits his time between Lilac School and us, teaching music to TK and through second grade students. John is a key figure in our school. Students are always happy to see him and gravitate towards him whenever he walks our halls. He is firm, caring, and lovingly pushes our students to do their best. What John likes best about teaching is motivating and exciting students to learn. He believes music is a corner of its own literacy. He is also very appreciative of our district's commitment to prioritizing our music program. Here are a few things that his colleagues have to say about him. My students love going to his class. He is excellent with students. He is amazing at engaging students. John is an amazing music teacher. Our students thoroughly enjoy his class and learn so much. Wow, he is amazing. Not only does he teach wonderful music lessons, he teaches directionality, how to listen, how to focus, sequencing, and so much more. We all love having him on campus, and this is a very well-deserved recognition. Congratulations, John.
Yeah, I thanks very much for this, and it's a little embarrassing because I work at two sites where everybody deserves recognition all the time. And the only thing I guess I want to reiterate is I get to play music a lot with a lot of professional musicians all over the country, and we spend a lot of downtime talking. And when I tell them I work at a public school where there's music for elementary students. You know, they can't believe it. And in fact, you know, first we'll go through the whole thing. Where do you, oh, I teach to private students. And then I'll say I teach elementary kids. And they say, oh, it's a private school, right? No, it's not a private school, it's a public school. And they can't believe it. And this is nationwide. I mean, it's very rare, very unique, and so hats off to the district for making that commitment and that priority. So thanks again. Thanks for this. Thanks, everybody.
My son Tommy in kindergarten had oh my God, was here, I think. Well, I won't say how old he is, but he's 31. So do the math. Anyway, my gosh, he had the guitar and the singing, and Tom loved the class. And now he's a great big guy who has a full-time job and is married.
Veronica?
Yes. Next, I'd like to recognize Rosa Rodriguez as our Classified Employee of the Month. Tonight, Rosa is joined by her husband Tomas and 3 children, Julian, Andrea, and Angel. This school year is Rosa's 4th year as a morning and lunch duty supervisor. Her calm and patient demeanor has allowed her to develop a positive rapport with students and staff. She's always making sure our students are eating breakfast or lunch, opening their milk cartons, and that they are playing safely out on the playground. She's always looking for ways to improve our procedures out on the playground and lunch tables. Rosa's favorite thing about working at primary school is the kids. According to her, in the primary ages, students are innocent, filled with love, and share the funniest stories. It is important to Rosa and her family to be involved and part of the community. Working at primary school is one way Rosa gives back. It is an honor to present her with this recognition tonight. Congratulations, Rosa.
Well, I made a note. Well, I just want to say thank you. Thank you to everybody. Thank you to the primary staff and my family, of course, for the support. It is a beautiful experience to work at the primary school with the kids. They are full of love, kindness, and I'm very happy to live here in Valley Center and work for my community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Components of reading. Okay, at this time, Ms. Ruiz has a presentation from Valley Center Primary called The 5 Essential Components of Reading.
President Adams, board members, Superintendent McCowan, and community. Tonight, you'll hear a brief presentation on literacy in action at Valley Center Primary School. Robert Pondicio, an educational expert, writes, "Any discussion about equity in education that is not first and foremost a discussion about literacy is unserious." That is why, at Valley Center Primary School, we believe that every child will learn to read confidently by providing with them explicit instruction in the 5 major components of reading: phonological awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and reading comprehension. It's important to understand how these 5 parts of reading work together. Teaching a child to read is like building a house. You first need to lay down a strong foundation. Without a proper foundation, the building will become unstable and begin to crumble. The foundation of reading is phonological awareness. Phonological awareness is a student's ability to identify and manipulate phonemes. This skill is 100% auditory, meaning it is only related to the sounds a letter makes or sounds that letters make together in words. Our students manipulate individual sounds in phonemic awareness lessons led by our literacy TOSA and their classroom teachers.
Okay, the sounds are put your finger on sounds are d. Few more.
On top of phonological awareness,
Okay, the sounds are
next slide. Okay. On top of phonological awareness, we begin to build phonic knowledge. During phonics instruction, we stress how letters correspond to sounds and how to use this knowledge when reading and spelling. This is commonly known as sounding out words. Our students engage. Next. Yes, it's super important. It is the foundation of reading.
finger on
Next slide.
Next slide.
Okay. Our students engage in targeted phonics instruction. In this transitional kindergarten class, each letter is connected to a sound using realia. Explicit phonics instruction is the next key in the foundation.
I have a friend here. His name is Nigel. Everybody say hi, Nigel. Hi, Nigel. Nigel is a night owl, and he sits up high on his branch and he watches over everybody. Everybody watch like this. Watch. He watches over everybody to make sure they're safe, and when he watches them, he says, Can you say, Okay, now look at my mouth. Yesterday. I have a friend here.
Once phonological awareness and phonics knowledge is established, we begin to add the glue that holds together all the different components. Reading fluency. Fluency is the ability to read words accurately and quickly. When students read aloud with speed, accuracy, and proper expression, students are most likely to comprehend and remember the material. Our students increase their fluency by using benchmark curriculum, reading, and fluency passages.
Mi burro le duele la cabeza. Ok, paren. ¿Qué podemos hacer para decir a mi burro le duele la cabeza? ¿Cómo podemos hacer un burro?
Vocabulary can be built next. When students come up to a word and sound it out, they are determining if the word makes sense based on their understanding of the world. When students do not know the meaning of the words, there is no way to know if the word fits or to make meaning from the sentence. Vocabulary development is also a determinant of reading comprehension. Our students build vocabulary in all academic areas by annotating texts and defining words with their teachers. Students and teachers work together to create vocabulary-rich environments. After vocabulary development, comprehension can be added. Reading comprehension is the ultimate goal of learning to read. This is an active process that requires an intentional and thoughtful interaction between the reader and the text. Our students show their comprehension of text by engaging in discussion and collaborative work.
What does that mean when we're using text evidence to answer a question?
Lillian?
It means you have to answer for the questions and you have to subscribe it by looking at a book that has all the answers.
Exactly.
Yeah, they do have rubber. Can I say that? Let's just do Toby.
At Valley Center Primary School, we build the foundation of literacy while instilling a lasting joy of reading. Literacy is one of the greatest gifts a person could receive. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very well done. At this time, those who came for the presentations, feel free to leave if you would like to, or of course you can stay for the rest of the meeting if you want. But thank you for coming if you are here for just for the presentations.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Our next part of the meeting is the request to address the board, and the state requires me to read these guidelines for addressing the board, which is the Brown Act. Members of the public are encouraged to attend board meetings and to address the board concerning any item on the agenda or within the board's jurisdiction. In order to conduct district business in an orderly and efficient manner, the board requires the public presentations to the board comply with Board Bylaw 9323, which includes the following. Members of the public wishing to address the board must complete a request to address the board card prior to the meeting and give it to the board secretary. The board president will recognize each person who has a request to address the board at the proper time and invite them to speak from the podium. Speakers must announce their name prior to addressing the board. All comments are limited to a total of 3 minutes per person or 20 minutes per item. The Ralph M. Brown Act limits the Board of Trustees and staff's ability to respond to comments on items that are not on the agenda. The board may not legally take action on any item not specifically listed on the agenda. If there are concerns regarding specific individuals, it is preferred that the speaker refrain from naming them publicly to respect their privacy. Please note that once the board closes the public input time on an agenda item, only the board and staff are involved in subsequent discussions. To honor our community, we enforce the 3 minute per speaker and 20 minutes per item time limit. The time is visible on the screen with a chime indicating the end of the 3 minute allotted time. Speakers may not cede their time to another speaker. Okay, thank you for your cooperation. Our first speaker this evening is Tabitha Martin.
Hello, I'm Tabitha Martin. I've addressed the board multiple times this year, and honestly, I did not want to be here tonight. More than ever before, I understand why so many involved parents in this school district have pulled their kids after fighting so hard to be heard by the district. The lack of transparency and lack of movement on important topics makes parents and staff feel unheard and ignored. In fact, many staff feel speaking up is unsafe. I continue to try to work with the district office on the topic of nursing in this district. I continue to encourage the board to increase all of our nurses' wages. However, it seems the district would rather hire contract nursing that costs us 3 times more than what we pay our staff. We pay our nurses $25 an hour for a nurse of 5 years. I asked the board to evaluate our district's hiring process for nurses. I encourage the district to move away from hiring new grad RNs as a district nurse. They need time to learn about their new career before they are also in charge of other nurses and the community's children. My son has already suffered a medication error since the loss of our VCHS school nurse. I also asked the board to hold the district office accountable in supporting the special projects director while she works to help salvage our district nursing, including working to stop the many non-nursing assignments we assign our school nurses, such as attendance. The few we have left are drowning. We hear repeatedly from the district and board how the health and safety of our children in this district is important. And then the community finds out that the lack of pay and poor contracts offered have resulted in the loss of staff and the inability to find and hire quality applicants, including, but not limited to, our nurses, bus drivers, and safety officers. To continue on this topic of health and safety, not only does the high school need security, it needs parents. Many of our long-term staff at the high school resist this. I have heard the excuse from many, the kids don't want parents here, like it's an approved quote. Any staff and admin that recognize this need are being shut down by other staff. What the children want has nothing to do with what they need. It is clear that parents need to be involved in this campus. It is clear that a parent liaison position should be made. We are one of the few districts without one. I have heard more and more that this superintendent's office, admin, and board act as a good old boys club than in the interests of the kids. I challenge you to prove this wrong. The county, the state, now have eyes on us. We need to work transparently and quickly at changes and let go of old attitudes and ideals that are no longer applicable to our district. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Christine Stolik.
Good evening, my name is Christine Stolik. I am the president of Chapter 795, Valley Center-Pauma Unified School District, California School Employees Association. Good evening, board members, staff members, and community members. Since our last board meeting, our negotiations team has met with the district, and we are moving in the right direction. We are thankful for the 6.56% COLA they have offered. In addition, we hope that the district will increase our 1% off-schedule bonus to supplement healthcare costs for our classified employees. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Christine. Our next speaker is Jesus Ferrar.
Good evening. My name is Jesus Ferrer. I'm the Labor Relations Representative for California School Employees Association. I represent this chapter, Valley Center-Pauma 795. Good evening, board, President Adams, Superintendent McGowan, members of the community. Thank you for showing up today. First, let me start with, I look forward to negotiating more with y'all, especially after a wonderful chili cook-off. Here for the winner. But I do want to reiterate what was said before, is our members, our classified employees, are the backbone of the school district, very essential. And let's regard them as that, okay? They have overcome some challenges these past couple of years, and even more so in the past. And they are done, okay? And they're ready for a new time to start evolutionize in this school district and to be regarded as essential employees. And why not start with a nice offer with their benefits? That's what we're asking. But I do look forward to working with this district. I think it's been so far a good collaboration. But let's not have our members' concerns land on deaf ears. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Our next speaker is Juana Carrillo Gonzalez.
Good evening, I'm Juana, and I'm here to address the board. I'm here on behalf of a student at Valley Center High School, and I am here because I wanted to know why a decision was made on his behalf without getting his testimony, his decision of being expelled from Valley Center High School. I also wanted to know if there was actions taken into the staff that was involved. I won't say names due to discrepancy, but we know that there is someone who is directly involved with this, and we wanted to know if there's anything done with that. This incident has to do with the altercation between the football players and 4 students who are not football players. And I wanted to know if the football coach involved in this has been given consequences appropriate to his actions. I ask you, the board, and also the public, if you were in this student's place and you see your brother unconscious on the floor being knocked out by someone who is twice as big as him, would you be okay and not do anything? Would you just stand there and not do anything? Like I said, I'm here on behalf of a Valley Center student, Tomas. He has been a good student throughout his years. He's held good grades. So for him to be having an expulsion from Valley Center High School, helping out his brother, I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair, especially because the decision was made without having his testimony first. Thank you.
Thank you. Our final speaker this evening is Teresa Mendez. What's that? I thought there was 6. That is 6. This is the 6th one.
Good evening, everybody.
Excuse
My
me
name.
one second. Let's just get something figured out. I think we're missing a speaker. Can you hold
one
on?
am I missing?
We won't start your clock.
Well, this one, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Well, this one got mixed up. Tomas Gonzalez is next. Do you want to be fair first? Or do you
Tomas, are you okay if she speaks first, or do you want to?
I'm Tomas, but I don't think the right Tomas.
Oh.
Is it okay if she goes first? Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, and then we'll switch it. Thank you.
My bad. Sorry.
Sorry about that. Thank
Go
you.
ahead.
for
I'm
your
sorry.
Hi. Hi, everybody. I'm Teresa Mendez. I know many of you, mother of 5 children in the district. I was here also at the last board meeting. I would like to, as another parent said, not have to be here today. However, I want to know what has been done, what actions have been taken. I recognize that as of the Brown Act, you are not able to respond directly. However, I want to know what mechanism is in place for us to know what actions have been taken. As parents, I know that you have reached out directly to some of the people that were involved. My children were not directly involved, but I feel that this still involves us as a community, us as, parents. I know that I'm not the only parent that feels that the lack of transparency is jarring. I'd like to know what actions, what measurable steps have been taken to address the concerns regarding security on our campuses. I want to know what measurable steps have been taken to address the issues of security at the middle school campus, which was previously discussed at the last board meeting. I know that the budget has been discussed at length. I know there are funds that can be put in place to take care of these concerns, but I don't know what is the bridge between you as our representatives and us as the parents and community to know how you are effectively using the resources that we have at hand. I wish that I could say that I feel better knowing that things have calmed down a bit at the school, but I kind of feel like a lot of things are being swept under the rug, and I kind of feel that's unacceptable. Everybody's getting busy with the holidays and people want to move on, but our kids still come here, and our kids still face this on a daily basis. I do have kids here at the high school, I do have kids at the middle school and at the primary. One other issue that was brought to my attention today is that the slides at the primary school have been closed for some time and are in need of repair. Is there a mechanism to also make this kind of repairs for our schools? Is there something that we as parents can request? Is there also a mechanism that, I know that you guys only address things that are on the agenda. How do we submit things for the agenda? Is this on the, I mean, am I just being uneducated about this? Is this on the website somewhere? Let us know. I would like to participate. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate your concerns. And finally, Mr. Tomas Gonzalez, I'm sorry to, you're next.
Just so everybody knows, with Mr. Gonzalez, we will have a translator, which means that he'll get 6 minutes instead of the 3 because of the translation piece. So just wanted to give everybody a heads up for that. So Mauricio, do you mind setting that up? Thank you.
Muy buenas tardes.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Yo me llamo Tomás González.
My name is Tomás González.
Venía por un caso de unos muchachos que tuvieron problemas aquí en la escuela, que viene siendo uno de mis hijos.
I've come tonight for a problem that happened here in the school that involved one of my sons.
Dos de mis hijos.
Two of my sons.
Yo vengo a ver qué se puede hacer para mejorar esto, porque uno de mis hijos fue muy golpeado.
I come to see if there's a way to make better this situation because one of my sons was hit.
Uno de ellos tuvo que llegar hasta el hospital.
One of them went to the hospital.
Pero no sé si es por la escuela que no tiene suficientes seguridad.
I don't know if it's because the school doesn't have sufficient security.
O también es personas que también trató de intimidar los muchachos que iban a pelear.
Or because there were people trying to intimidate the students who were going to fight.
Uno de mis hijos fue trasladado al Oakland High School.
One of my sons was transferred to Oakland High School.
Y otro de ellos fue expulsado.
And another was expelled.
Yo quisiera saber a cada uno de ustedes qué harían si una familia está tirado en el suelo.
I'd like to ask everyone here, what would you do if a family member was down on the ground?
Por una persona que es entrenado para golpear,
By a person who's trained to hit,
es como un boxeador o un ¿cómo se le llama aquí? Un luchador.
they're like boxers or wrestlers.
Que tiene 2 veces el tamaño de mi hijo.
That's two times bigger the size of my son.
Le pega en la cabeza, le
They
pega
hit him in the head,
en las narices
in the
y
nose.
tuvo un concussion.
He had a concussion.
Eso es lo que yo quisiera saber.
This is what I would like to know.
¿Qué harían ustedes como padres,
What would you do
aunque
as
fueran
parents
maestros
or teachers
o miembros de la escuela?
or members of the school?
¿Será que yo estoy mal? Yo sé que hay una consecuencia para los muchachos que tienen ese problema.
Could it be that I'm wrong? I know that there are consequences for students who have this problem.
Mis hijos, su grado de ellos, no voy a decir
Excuse me, Mr. Rogers, can you make sure he addresses the board, please?
Si puede dirigir sus comentarios al borde.
Sí. Mis hijos, no voy a decir que ellos son uno de los mejores en la escuela,
My children, I'm not going to say are necessarily the best in the school,
pero tiene sus buenos grados,
but they have good grades.
pero uno de ellos fue mandado al Oak Glen y otro expulsado.
One of them was sent to Oak Glen and the other expelled.
Por eso yo quisiera preguntarle al board si le diera una oportunidad a él
This is
que
why I
no,
want to ask the board to give an opportunity to him
para que este muchacho siga con sus estudios.
so this young man can continue his studies.
En el tiempo como está, cuando pasamos en los 16 años o 15 años,
The time when you're 15 or 16 years old,
uno no piensa lo que hace.
one doesn't think about what they do.
Pero ya cuando uno ya está con responsabilidades, uno quisiera regresar a la escuela.
When one has responsibilities, they'd like to go back to school,
Pero a veces ya es un poco tarde.
but sometimes it's too late.
Yo quisiera que este muchacho le dieran una oportunidad.
I want you to give this young man an opportunity.
Muchas gracias, es
Thank
todo
you.
lo que pido.
Oh, thank you for those who came, those who wish to. Oh, okay.
Leave if they
Okay,
want, but-
all right.
Yeah.
We'll just move forward.
Okay, that's fine.
Because then if I say something, they'll be upset.
That's true. That's true.
Mr. President, this month I was in charge of reviewing the purchase orders. I had questions and they were answered to my satisfaction. And so I move that we approve the consent agenda with the updated personnel list.
Okay, there is a motion from Mary. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And a second. Is there any discussion on these items? Okay, seeing none, we'll move to vote. Member Benjamin?
Aye.
Member Heredia?
Aye.
Member Polito?
Aye.
Member Stroh?
Aye.
Member Adams votes aye. Now move to the superintendent's division and his report.
Okay, so we're going to go over a couple of things. One of the biggest things that happens in a kid's school year is Halloween, of course. So we've got some pictures up here of some Halloween celebrations. This one is at Pauma at the top, or actually it's primary at the top. And then you can see where there's some teachers that also join in the dress up. We also have the next picture is Halloween down at Pauma. And you can see they had a giant pumpkin there, and the is it TPC? Because I get PTC and TPC. TPC set up the Halloween like haunted house for everybody, and I know Mr. Camacho and his staff are part of that, and they had a great time with not only their students but with their community. Next slide. This is Lilac, the lizards celebrating their crazy costume contest. They did a march around and then had a contest. Next one was the Valley Center. Is that Pauma again? I got to get my eyes checked. So the elementary school, but doesn't it say Pauma? Valley Center of Pauma? Oh. Give me a second here. So these are the road runners at the elementary school that are part of the Valley Center Pauma Unified School District. So you can see they're out having a lot of fun on Halloween. The next picture here is our Thunderhawks over at the middle school, and you can see them all dressed up. And then the next slide, we have the one slide that we don't have in there. We also had our Halloween candy handout that was in the parking lots between the elementary school and the district office that is supported and ran by the Roadrunner and helped out with everybody in the community, and that was a great night. This here is some pictures of our migrant after ed, after school programs, and you can see some of our students there at the middle school and some over at Lilac and Pauma and the elementary school being able to get some additional work in. Next slide. Here's some students working hard. And then the final slide here that I have, and I won't quite be able to read that, but I got a copy here. So we have had a lot of people mention security and what we have on our campuses, so I wanted to review that real quickly. We have, over the last couple years, added some security guards. We are now up to 4 campus positions at the high school. All 4 of those are currently filled. Over at the middle school, we used to have 1 security guard. We now have 2 security guards there. They are both filled. And we have 7 positions of PM duties. And at this point, we have 1 open spot. And then over at Oak Glen High School, we have one security, and that position has been filled. Primary school, we have 5 positions that are for the PM duty, and we have 1 vacancy there. We also have PM duty at Lilac with 5 positions that are completely filled. Over at Palma, we also have 5 positions. We have 1 vacant. And then PM duty, we have 6 positions at the elementary school, which are all filled. And one of the reasons we were able to fill some of these is we'd be able to give additional hours to some of our current employees to boost up their amount of hours and then cover our playgrounds. One of the things that we've also done is we have hired a sub that was in at the high school for the last couple of weeks. And he was our original juvenile officer for the sheriff's department when we first opened up our high school. He's been part of our community for 30 or 40 years, and that's Hank Romelli. He is going to come on as a sub for the next probably 3 months. And at the high school, we also increased over COVID to have a lead security guard. That is Gary McPhee. Gary McPhee is a retired SRO, School Resource Officer from San Diego Schools. So what this will allow us to do is one of the things as a lead security guard that Gary has been working on is our safety plans at all of our school sites, making sure that our staff know what to do, and then also working with not just our security guards, but also with yard duty to be able to help them to be able to be more aware and know what to look for. Unfortunately, he hasn't been able to get out and do much of that work. So with Hank Romelli being a sub, we have 2 ex-officers. One will be working at the high school at all times, and the other person, depending on what the training might be and who might have the specialty in that area, will be roaming around the district and doing some of those trainings to help shore up our security and then also our yard duty. So we're looking forward to that, and that's the piece I wanted to share on the security and what we're doing to try to beef it up.
Can I ask one question on this? I just wanted to make sure that I am correct in my recollection. When you see a vacant position, even though it's vacant, we arrange for coverage, even though it's vacant during those times.
I'll give that over to Aaron.
If there's someone available to cover, they'll cover.
Right.
So often instructional aides who aren't working at that time normally might timesheet it and fill in as a sub.
Okay.
So Aaron, can you better explain how we've taken some of those instructional aides and added hours so that they can help cover those spots?
Sure. So one of the challenges in hiring duty supervisor positions, as you can imagine, is that the hours the positions fill are just 1 to 1.5, right, at lunchtime. And so those are difficult positions to fill because they're entry-level positions, so the salary's not super high. And people often are looking for more than 1 hour, 1.5 hours to work. So they're often filled by people in the community who might be at home and have that time to come in the middle of the day to work with the kids. What we decided to do, and because we're not getting applicants for those positions, they're 1 hour, 1.5 hours isn't always what people are looking for, is we approved that to be added on to other employees who are already in the district to their current position. So basically they might have 2 positions, in some cases 3, and some of them, by adding those hours in that position, it allowed them to become benefited. You receive benefits in this district after you hit 5 hours. So what we're doing now, because there's a shortage pretty much in every industry in terms of being able to fill positions, is trying to find ways, even though it might be more costly, to keep those who we already have here, rather than having to find new people that are difficult to find.
Thank you, Ms. Rogers.
Yes. So then in that, all of those people who will be working kind of in a security position or with students
Student
will
safety
be
position.
trained?
Yeah, there'll be different trainings
that's
and go
great.
over different things with
Okay.
them.
Okay.
And that probably will start maybe, after Thanksgiving or after Christmas, right in that time.
That's great, great.
Well, that was the question I had, was about training for the
Yeah.
security.
Because that's critical.
Okay, very good. Does anybody else have a question for our superintendent at this time?
So just to clarify, so it says PM duty, that is lunch duty, that is what?
Correct.
Correct, and I'm sorry, Aaron. Aaron put the slide together for me and focused on the PM duty, because was the biggest concern.
Okay.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, actually, I do have one more.
Okay.
So, How do these numbers compare to what security was at the high school and middle school, say, whatever, 6 months ago or 5 years ago? Like, what have the numbers been in the past? Do you know?
So a lot of that I would have to go back and look, but I believe at one time at the high school when we were 1,600 students or 1,500, we might have had 5 security guards. Okay. At one point during budget cuts way back 2019, I believe we went down to the 3, and now we're back up to the 4.
Okay.
And then we also didn't have a lead security. We just didn't have anybody that had the skill at level to be the lead security at the time.
Okay.
And then now we're back up to 4. The middle school, and Aaron can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it always had 1 security guard, and about a year ago or so, we bumped it up to 2.
I think it was a little bit longer than that because it had 2 before I got here, so it's got to be probably more like 2 years ago.
And the numbers, when we had 2 at the middle school, we were closer to 12 or 1,100 kids. Mm-hmm. Now we're down to about 800, just based, there was an 850? 700, just based on the large, fresh, or 6th, 7th, and 8th grade classes are now at the high school, and the newer classes come through are a little bit lower.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else have a question?
Oh, okay.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Superintendent. We'll now go on with the item B, conduct the first reading of the following revised board policies and administrative regulations, BP 3550, AR 3550, BP 3553, AR 3553, and BP 5145.12. And the reason these are there is because they have to comply with every month. It seems like there are new state regulations and so forth that we have to comply with, and so wording has to be changed, as you well know,
Right.
in our policies. So I have to read these out loud. A, revised board policy 3550, business and non-instructional operations, food service, and child nutrition program. The policy is updated to reflect the new law, AB 130-2021, which requires districts to provide a nutritionally adequate breakfast and lunch to any student who requests a meal, regardless of the student's free and/or reduced price meal eligibility, and new law, AB 486-2021, which authorizes the coordination of food service programs with classroom instruction and other related district programs. Item B, revised Administrative Regulation 3550, Business and Non-Instructional Operations, Food Service, and Child Nutrition Program. The regulation is updated to reflect changes necessary to implement the new law, AB 130-2021, above, which requires the provision of a nutritionally adequate breakfast and lunch to any student who requests the meal, regardless of the student's free and/or reduced price meal eligibility, and make other clarifying changes in the food safety section. C, revised board policy 3553, business and non-instructional operation, free and reduced price meals. This policy is updated to reflect the new law, AB 130-2021, which requires districts to provide nutritionally adequate breakfast and lunch, I know this is repetitive, to any student who requests a meal, regardless of the student's free and/or reduced price meal eligibility. Updated policy includes general requirements applicable to federal, national, school lunch and breakfast programs, as well as the state universal meal program. Updated policy also includes revision to the confidentiality release of records section to permit the use of student information to facilitate the provision of targeted educational services to a student based on the local control and accountability plan, as clarified in the California Department of Education's Management Bulletin SNP-02-2018. Item D, revised Administrative Regulation 3553, Business and Non-Instructional Operations, Free and Reduced Price Meals. Regulation is updated to reflect the new law, AB 130-2021, which requires districts to provide a nutritionally adequate breakfast and lunch to any student who requests a meal, regardless of the student's free and/or reduced price meal eligibility, and includes program implementation changes, verification of eligibility, and non-discrimination plan sections, and the deletion of the prices section, which is no longer necessary. Item E, the last one here, Board Policy 5145.12, Students Search and Seizure. Policy is updated to reflect court decision upholding a school policy that called for limited searches without individualized suspicion if students left campus and returned to them in the middle of the day. policy is also updated to reflect the law which places restrictions on searches of electronic devices such as cell phones, court decision regarding searches of lockers without individualized suspicion, and court decision upholding policy of random weapons screening with a handheld metal detector. Okay. There's no vote on those items. That's the first reading. You can do the second reading next month. Item C, the board will conduct a second reading of the following revised board policies and administrative regulations, which of course were read last month. AR 3551, BP 3551, BP 4119.1, BP 6146.1, and BP 6178. That said, do I have a motion to approve these?
Also move.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And a second by Mary. Is there any further discussion on these items, which were presented last month? No? Okay, seeing none, I'll proceed with the vote. Member Benjamin?
Aye.
Member Heredia?
Aye.
Member Polito?
Aye.
Member Stroh?
Aye.
And Member Adams votes aye. Item D are the proposed board meeting dates for 2023, and these will be brought before the board in December for approval, the new board. Okay, let's move on to item 7, educational services. A, parent guardian survey results, summary info, and tribal representatives' input on Indian children living on Indian land. Dr. Mesa Patara to review the results of the survey.
Just gonna try this. Perfect. All right, so good evening, President Adams, members of the school board, Superintendent McCowan, and our valued community members and colleagues. As part of our yearly consultation and partnership, we conducted a parent survey to gather information from our Native American parents and guardians in regards to our programs. Please note that this survey was indigenized with the collaboration of our wonderful Title VI members, Ms. Katrina Coyote, Ms. Shanna Bohorges, Dr. Elena Hood, and Mr. Mark Halewood. I almost said next slide. The survey included 21 questions sent to parents and guardians, 2 of which were open questions. The themes of the questions ranged from the school's focus on improving student achievement to school climate, to communication, to how parents and students feel at school. Parents and guardians were given the choice to complete the survey either digitally through a QR code or a link, as well as a hard copy. For the convenience of our families, we have provided a self-addressed stamped envelope along with the survey. We mailed 494 surveys, and out of the 494, 40 surveys were completed. One of the 40 surveys was partially completed. So when you look at the answers, sometimes you're going to see they're not 40 just because of the one that was partially incomplete. The percentage of the return surveys for this year was 8.09%, about 8.1, compared to last year's 3%. Even though the percent is low, we're hoping for a better percent, but we are really appreciative of more parents providing input. We appreciate all the input that we've received from our families and are looking forward to continuing our collaboration. The majority of the return surveys were from families of students in grades 9 through 12, 42.5%, followed by families of students in grades 6 through 8, 22.5%. The survey included a representation from all of our schools, with a majority submission made by Valley Center High School families, 27.5%, followed by Pauma School, 17.5%. When asked whether families were aware of the Title VI services, 77% stated yes. When asked whether the Title VI American programs helped students' academic progress in reading, language, and/or math, 47.5% agreed or strongly agreed. When asked whether families have been involved in students' classrooms or school, the majority reported occasionally with 55%, followed by no with 27.5%.
And I just want to note here that the majority was submitted by high school and middle school. And coming from a background of elementary, I know more involvement happens at the elementary level in terms of participating in classroom and campuses. When asked about the extent of growth their student has shown in reading comprehension, 75% of our families reported that their students have shown satisfactory or excellent growth. When asked about the extent of growth their student has shown in mathematical skills and problem solving, 70% of our families reported that their students have shown satisfactory or excellent growth. When asked whether families are given information regarding students' progress and/or additional services the students may qualify for, 47.5% agreed or strongly agreed. When asked about the frequency of receiving information regarding students' progress from teachers, the majority reported weekly with a percentage of 45, followed by occasionally with a percentage of 30. When asked about the main reason that keeps our families from attending the Title VI meetings, the majority of the responses reported day and time of meeting, 37%, followed by childcare, 18.5%. So we might have to consider the timing. When asked about whether the schools invite families' comments and/or feedback, 87.5% reported yes or somewhat. When asked whether the school is a welcoming place, 92.5% reported yes or somewhat. When asked whether students' school has a system in place to voice questions or concerns, 87.2% reported yes or somewhat. When asked about the communication method that their student's school uses to deliver information to families, the majority reported email, website, 29.4%, followed by telephone, 22.6%. When asked about the preferred communication method that schools could use to deliver information to families, the majority reported email and website, 27%, followed by telephone, 22.6%. Please note that question 16, even though it looks like a close-ended question, it is an open response question to allow suggestions for additional ideas for communication that have not been included. The responses were put into categories, so what I did is I just tallied them and put them in categories. When asked about the preferred communication methods that schools could use to deliver information to families, the majority reported email, 41%, followed by telephone, 27.8%, which is consistent with what the previous questions had. When asked whether parent informational meetings or activities have improved the academic progress of students, the majority of responses reported neutral, 53.8%, followed by strongly agree or agree, 35.9%. When asked whether families have been given suggestions to use at home to support their students with schoolwork, the majority of guardians reported no, with a 62.5%. And this is definitely an area that we can do better in. When asked about the frequency of attendance families are willing to attend, training sessions and/or parent theme nights, the majority reported quarterly, 30%, followed by monthly, 25%. When asked about the frequency of accessing the VCPUSD website, the majority of the responses reported occasionally, 35%, followed by monthly, 32.5%. Please note that this question, question 21, is an open response question. When asked about recommendations to improve our services and supports at our sites, our families offered many suggestions. The majority of the suggestions addressed college and career readiness, parent involvement, hiring American Indian staff, better communication, tutoring sessions, more one-on-one meetings with teachers. Last month, we held our yearly Impact Aid meeting with our tribal representatives on October 25th. At this meeting, we shared information and data about our programs at VCPUSD schools and obtained input from attendees on what is working and how we can improve on the areas of need. The tribal representatives were provided a digital binder that included documents about our district programs, the district LCAP plan, the district's uniform complaint procedures, a revision of Indian children living on native land board policies, and school accountability report cards. The feedback provided to our district by tribal representatives was categorized by what is working and areas of improvement. This slide shows that the tribal representatives feel that the overall outreach to our families has improved. They also noted that they appreciated the collaboration with the Ed Centers. This year, we extended the Impact Aid meeting time by 30 minutes to go into breakout groups to provide in-depth feedback. The committee shared our areas of concern and made suggestions for improvement. We also extended the opportunity to provide input for our Indian policies and procedures outside the meeting by sending all appointed representatives, as well as our Title VI families, a link to a form to provide feedback starting the afternoon of Thursday, October 27th through Tuesday, November 1st. Based on the large group discussion during the meeting, the committee recommended meeting more often, such as mid-year meetings or summer Impact Aid pre-meeting, discussing data on cohort graduation rate, as well as dropout rate, and the visits to the Ed Centers, not just the ones that are close by. We would like to end this presentation by thanking our Native American families who took the time to complete the survey. We would also like to thank La Jolla, San Pascual, Pauma, Pala, and Rincon Ed Centers, their directors, and all the staff for their appreciated partnership. They've been working with us, collaborating with us, and helping our kiddos. So we have encountered many challenging times, but the collaboration has always continued. A special thank you to our wonderful Title VI members for all the support that they have provided in terms of staff professional development and bringing our Title VI meetings back to our local Ed Centers so we can meet and collaborate in person. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mesa.
Thank you, Mesa.
Good job.
May I ask a few questions? Yeah, I just had a couple, just actually a positive comments as well.
Yeah.
The survey questions, thank you for the improvement, or the revision, I should say, the collaboration that happened to do the revision on the questions. I think they were very thorough and much more informative and a great outreach. So well
Thank
done
you,
on that.
Wendy. It's really the help of our committee, the Title VI committee.
Yeah.
It was their great feedback, collaboration. They brought a lot of ideas, and we worked collaboratively. So
I
thank you.
also appreciate the outreach to the centers and to the reservations to make the effort to get our meetings out there.
Yes.
And I think that will make a difference in the level of participation as well. So thank you for returning to that. I know we had that in place previously, and so good to see that it's coming back. Obviously, the pandemic impacted things, so I'm sure. I did have two questions, though, I did want to ask. The digital format on the survey, can that be done? I'm thinking, yes, it should be able to be done on a telephone, right?
Yes. Yes.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so just thinking there's a lot of great potential for that.
Right.
The other thing I was going to ask, is the survey still open for continued participation, or is it now closed down, or does it always remain open?
Well, we closed it because we collected this usually,
Right,
but
right,
is
obviously,
your
of course.
recommendation to keep it open?
Oh, no,
That's-
I'm just asking?
Yeah, no, we
I-
did close the survey at a certain
Okay.
time because we wanted to analyze the data.
Obviously, yeah, we need to
Yes.
get the data. I was just curious
Yes.
if it's only open for a certain time period.
Yes.
Okay, great,
Okay,
thank you.
And we will have, that's what we said in Title VI meetings is, there's always room for improvement, and there's ideas, then we can always look into it.
Thank you for your
Yes,
leadership.
absolutely, of course. Thank
I'd
you.
like to say thank you as well, and how encouraging we're moving forward and getting more participation, and your recommendations are great. And I think with Title VI and you working through it, we'll continue to grow in that area because it's much needed. But thank you. so much.
Thank you, Mesa. At this time, we will conduct the public hearing and first reading on Indian policies and procedures for 2022-2023. We will gavel in the time at
7:21.
7:21. Is someone willing to speak on this public comment time? There's a maximum of 20 minutes per discussion. Or three.
Nochung Amy Admarica, no Washnai, no Bomkoish, no Quam Joseph Morales, Dela Colbin, Marcelo Ramos. I wasn't going to speak tonight, but it's very difficult to get through these proceedings. The Indian policies and procedures are very performative. I reached out to the United States Department of Education to discuss the Indian policies and procedures. I was told that participation means just that, taking part in certain classes or extracurricular activities. That these Indian policies and procedures aren't meant to measure our children's outcomes and to not be a measure, again, of those educational outcomes. And if it is not meant to make sure that our children are succeeding, then I'm not sure what they're for. And as far as participating with the same access as their non-native peers in certain classes or extracurricular activities, what certain classes? And our children, because they're not performing academically and only 5% of native students that take the CASP course are meeting math standards, they cannot participate in electives because their schedule is full of remedial classes, 2 language classes, 2 math classes. So I also question how the board, the people who are responsible for deciding whether our children are participating with equal access, I'm sorry. Feel that that's being met. Like, what is the rubric? What's the measurement that you use? And do you decide that our children are not participating at the same access to these classes and these extracurricular activities? Or do we consider chronic absenteeism the same as equal participation and the high suspension rates of our students the same as participating on an equal basis? I would say that they are missing out and they are not participating if they are not at school and if they are not performing academically. So again, I wanted to make sure just to say again that these Indian policies and procedures are antiquated. They're attached to impact aid dollars. Our children generate almost $1.8 million through this impact aid with these meaningless policies attached to them. And I stand here every year and ask for some of these dollars to be allocated for our children, for direct services to our students who are not performing at the school, while the $1.8 million is spent on teacher salaries. And our teachers are some of the highest paid in the district.
Okay. Thank you.
In the state.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Time has expired. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right now, gavel out at
7:25.
7:25. Okay. At this point, we have an update on English language development, or ELD, instructional materials in grades 6 through 12, and this is presented by Assistant Superintendent Mark Halewood, who will now give us an update.
Thank you. So the update would be that, we use English language development materials in ELD classes for direct instruction in grades 6 through 12. We used a curriculum that is known as EDGE that also has 2 programs. One is called EDGE and one is called Inside. Inside is for grades 6, 7, and 8, and EDGE is for grades 9 through 12. We've been using that curriculum now for multiple years. previously, we've been using a series of that curriculum called Fundamentals for students who are newcomers and essentially coming into our district. The publisher has a new series called Inside the USA, which specifically targets newcomer students in middle school grades. And so our update for our English language development materials would be the addition of that series as part of this curriculum. It is being piloted and used as a supplemental in the past year, and this year now it will become one of the series that we will now implement in our newcomer program at the middle school. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Haywood. Anyone have a question?
Yeah, just a real quick question. Is this a supplemental or is the base program?
So as the curriculum was being used, we were using it as a supplemental and piloting it last year. That process was successful, and the teacher who was using the curriculum and our district team felt that it is full enough and can be used as and the publisher recommends that it can be used as a full curriculum.
Okay.
So now it will be the curriculum for our newcomer program at the middle school.
And I think you mentioned, or my understanding is it's state adopted as well, so it's a part of their.
Yeah, the EDGE curriculum that's published by Cengage, partnered with National Geographic, is approved at the state level.
It includes assessments, ongoing assessments through the year, so we can monitor growth.
It does. So the curriculum at all levels, grades 6 through 12, has diagnostic tools that are built in, and then assessment throughout the program to measure growth. And although we use the ALPAC state test as our overall summative measure, the curriculum does have those measures built into it for more of a formative and kind of teaching purpose.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? We will now move on to item D, which is a presentation on the released CASP Math/ELA data. And again, Mr. Haywood will present us.
Great.
To us about that.
President Adams, members of the board, Superintendent McCowan, district and site staff, and guests, thank you for the opportunity to provide you with a brief update regarding our CASP, or the California Assessment of Student Performance and Progress, summative results in English Language Arts and Math for the previous 2021-22 school year. Each year, students in our district take state assessments in language arts and math in grades 3 through 8 and 11. Throughout the state of California, many districts have seen a decline in this year's results. Despite some signs of rebounding early in the year, student achievement as we came to the end of last year has remained lower than in a typical school year. For the purposes of context, here you can see some of the effects of the past 3 years on our students. If you look at a 1st and 9th grade student in 2019-2020, we can see the disruptions to their school year includes movement of the school year to distance learning, spending a large part of a school year in distance learning, and then the quarantine process of those students and oftentimes also their teachers due to the pandemic. So if you look at a student in 1st grade, last year would have been their 1st year taking a state assessment in 3rd grade, and a student in 9th grade would have been tested as an 11th grader last year. I share this only to provide context and just an understanding of some of the effects that may lead to some of the results I'll review. Here you can see our district percent of students who met or exceeded standards on state assessments last year and going back to the 2018-2019 school year. Our district has seen a decline in results in both math and language arts from the 18-19 school year. You can see the decline in language arts, and then in math, from the 18-19 school year, overall there has been a decline with a small increase last year. The overall percent of students who met or exceeded standards in language arts was 29.63%, and in math, 15.72%, which, as I said, is a decline over the past 3 years. Here you can see some areas of growth for our district. These would be measurable areas of growth from the previous year. At some of our sites, we did see some gains in language arts and math. And then at our school sites, we did see some student groups who made gains from the previous year. Just as overview, we did see some gains at school sites for Native American students, English learners, and students with disabilities as listed as SWD on this slide. Overall, though, our district does see a lower performance compared to overall district performance for the following student groups: Native American students, Hispanic students, English learners, and students with disabilities. So although you can see that there was growth made, small measurable growth at specific sites, our district overall does see a gap in the performance of these student groups compared to overall district performance. These results make it clear that we have work to do, and the efforts that we need to take to ensure students are meeting standards and are also able to demonstrate their learning in practical applications, but as seen on in these results, on assessments of learning provided by the state. How will we use these assessments this school year? First, establishing a new baseline. Knowing the challenges of the last 3 years, the California Department of Education encourages school districts and LEAs to use assessment data to establish a new baseline in learning goals and not take a punitive approach. This is evident in our LCAP and will continue to be noted in our LCAP and in school site plans for student achievement. In the area of multi-tiered system of supports, or MTSS, CAF scores and local assessment results provide teachers with valuable data about individual learning needs. The in-school intervention programs in our district provide a higher level of intervention in instruction in English language arts and mathematics, and these are areas we will continue to build upon. Overall, our district has decided to take a professional learning community, or PLC, response, with teachers engaging each other in the process of cycles of improvement and ongoing analysis of assessments, helping guide instruction and providing focus for essential priority standards that are being addressed within individual courses. Ongoing CASP preparation and standards-based instruction will continue in our district as it has. All sites will be using resources provided by the California Department of Education in preparing students to answer questions in the style of CASP assessments. This is in addition to the work that our teachers do with our adopted curriculums and standards-based instruction that they're already providing. This will be done through an interim assessment process and the use of the Tools for Teachers website from the CASP system itself. Our district administrators and site administrators have engaged in looking at the results from last year by digging into analysis of the results and looking at claims. Here you can see on the chart the claim areas that we're able to dig to. In the areas of language arts, those are reading, writing, listening, research, and inquiry. And in the areas of math, concepts and procedures, problem solving, data analysis, and communicating reasoning. Growth areas for our district overall in language arts are areas in writing, and in math are concepts and procedures. These would be areas of growth for our entire district. Each individual site, as they analyze their data, will also see specific areas to work on as they move through this year. Part of this preparation is having students see and work with their teachers on looking at actual CASP-style questions that students will see when they take the summative assessment for CASP at the end of this school year. Here's an example of a third grade math question focusing on, as I said, concepts and procedures, which is a district area of growth. A good reason to look at this question, and something that we've seen in our district, is the style of the question is an important aspect of instruction for our students. Here you can see a question where to decide whether each expression is equal to 2 times 5 times 3, a question that in and of itself many students will be able to answer, but we have seen elements that students, although they may know the answer, are not completing the question correctly. So here you can see that 3 options for yes need to be given in order to actually score 1 point for this question. If a student answered 2 and not 3, then no points would be given. Another example of at a 5th grade level for language arts and literacy, again in the area of writing, which we see as a district area of growth. Here you can see a question where a student is given a prompt to write an opinion based on information provided to them and notes from a student. Using the student's notes, they need to write 1 or 2 paragraphs adding reasons for support based on the information they're provided. This is a question where students will enter a response, and one of the things that we see is important is This is an instructional practice. So this question is an instructional-based question, which can be integrated very easily into our classrooms. And so we've already seen, especially in our 5th grade classrooms, where teachers are putting these questions up and engaging students in the process of how to answer them, and then reflecting and measuring growth. The next level of accountability updates that I'll be giving will be for the California School Dashboard. The CASP assessment results that I provided today were released publicly earlier in October. Our California School Dashboard, there would be additional measures for our school district. It has not currently been released. Currently is scheduled to be released early December. Due to the restrictions imposed by Assembly Bill 130, California is required to only report current year data. So just as an update, you can see the areas that will be reported on the California School Dashboard. One of those will also be our state assessment data, but there'll be a 1-year measure where the rubrics for these areas will be reported from very low to very high and not be a progress over time. Thank you for this opportunity to give you an update regarding our CAS data and then future updates to the California School Dashboard. Are there any questions?
Mr. Hill, would I just like to add to that? First of all, great presentation. I heard from a superintendent once that when you have great test scores, you celebrate them and then you move on. And when you have bad test scores, you own them. And I'll tell you, the school board, we own these test scores, and these test scores are not acceptable. And I would like to thank the board, because the board has provided us with the correct curriculum, with professional development, and the tools that we need for our kids to perform much better on these tests. And I will, myself and our teams, both at the district office and at school sites, we will make sure that this gets corrected, because this is not acceptable.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know nationwide, the COVID pandemic school closedowns affected everybody, not just us. But still, that said, we have a lot of work to do, and I know our administrators and our staff, district-wide, will be working hard to, get those up.
I really appreciated your slide where you tabled out and charted out the last years, and just so you can kind of get a snapshot of exactly your statement, and that the reality is we're not alone. This is what's being faced by the nation, and I appreciate hearing the ownership. Clearly, we own it, but
That's
Thank you.
critical, is
Appreciate the
owning it and
focus.
moving on.
Yep.
Thank you.
Very good. Any further questions of Mr. Harewood?
Oh, good.
No?
No.
Okay, we have to
Thank
move
you.
on to item E, Student Expulsion Agreement 2022-2023-SA01. There can be no discussion. Do I have a motion?
Also move.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. I will call for the vote. Member Benjamin?
Aye.
Member Heredia?
Aye.
Member Polito?
Aye.
Member Stroh?
Aye.
And Member Adams votes aye. Item F is for student expulsion number 2022-2023-01. Do I have a motion for this one?
Also move again.
Okay, there is a motion and a second.
I'll second.
Motion and a second on that one. Okay, I will call for the vote. Member Benjamin?
Aye.
Member Heredia?
Aye.
Member Polito?
Aye.
Member Stroh?
Aye.
And Member Adams votes aye. Finally, item G, the student expulsion number 2022-2023-02. Do I have a motion on that one?
Also move.
There is a motion, and is there a second?
I'll second.
There is a second. Okay. We'll proceed with the vote then. Member Benjamin?
Aye.
Member Heredia?
Aye.
Member Polito?
Aye.
Member Stroh?
Aye.
Member Adams votes aye. And now advanced planning. Our next meeting is the organizational meeting to be held on Wednesday, December 15th, 2022. But, what?
Should I do my thing?
We're going to do the adjournment and then
Okay.
after the two.
Got it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Before I adjourn, I want to say, first of all, this is my last meeting as the board president and a member of this board. After 4 years, I've served as a parent. My kids went through this district K through 12, and as a teacher at the high school in Oak Glen, and helped out at the Rincon Ed Center for almost 8 years. And of course, here on the board and president the last 2 years, and it's been tough lots of times, good experience, though. I learned a lot, and I appreciate all the dedication of our teachers, our staff, administrators. I know it's a tough job out there, and I want to know I appreciate everything that you do. It's not an easy job. It really isn't, because I've been in your shoes, so I know. So anyway, it's been an honor to serve. I just want to say it's been an honor to serve, and thank you to the community and the school district for the privilege of service.
We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Before you
Also moved.
adjourn.
Oh.
Not yet.
We
Got
want to
it,
do the
okay.
motion so that then we can open.
Got
the
it,
discussion.
okay.
Okay.
No worries, it's okay.
You're like,
How come he got to say no?
Also move.
There's a motion to adjourn
I'll second.
and a second. Is there any discussion? Hopefully not.
Now?
this is the discussion time.
Now, this is the
discussion
discussion time.
So we have a,
Can
And-
I just?
we'll let Wendy start.
If I can just actually echo what Craig just said as well. I know that the results of the election are not official yet. However, this is my last meeting as well, and I just wanted to congratulate my colleague, Julie, who's busy preparing something over there, but just wanted to congratulate her, and I know she'll do a fantastic job as she continues onward on the board. And also, like Craig, want to thank our community and all the parents and everyone for the opportunity to serve our community in this capacity. It's truly been a privilege and an honor as well. And look forward to continuing my service in other capacities, other ways in our community. That I'm not going anywhere, so I'll continue onward. So looking forward to exploring and finding what that might look like. So thank you to all my colleagues. It's been an absolute pleasure working with all of you, and some that were here earlier as well from the past also. So
Thank you, Wendy.
Well, thank you.
And with With that, Wendy, would you come up here, please?
You get to go to the podium, Wendy.
This is for Wendy because she has been a wonderful. Oh, this is really. We did not.
We had to just do it.
Not again. No. But when Wendy has so much value of her years of experience in teaching, principal, admin, and has contributed greatly to our board and has such a heart for students, staff, and just having the whole school run smoothly and watchful eye has been so great. And this is a plaque for her. It says, "Thank you for your service and commitment to the school district and community," and that's for sure, of Valley Center and Pauma Valley. Wendy, you ready yet? Board of Trustees, 2018 to 2022.
Oh, guys, goodness.
Oh, boy.
Ladies first. Yes. And this is for Craig. Again, it says thank you for your service and commitment to the school district and community of Valley Center-Pauma. Craig Adams, board member, Board of Trustees, 2018 to 2022, and board president, 2018 2022. And we just want to say thank you. He has been a great leader with kindness, yet passionate about, again, as well as Wendy, students, the staff, and that's what we have. This board has been about, is the time and the commitment and the care and concern. And he's always guided us with a lot of passion and wisdom. And that is paramount in having a board that works together, collaborates really well, and Craig has just given lots of time and has been a real solid leader. And we all want to thank him for his leadership. And he's going to move on, but I know his heart's going to be with us here. And he's been here for teaching for how long? 20 years. Yeah. So anyways, thank you, Craig, for everything.
Greg, would you do us the honor of adjourning us tonight?
I'm done.
You know what, can I just add one more additional comment? I just know that our district is going to continue in great hands with the board that is coming up in December. And I have appreciated this board's work and due diligence on behalf of students. I think just this evening was an example of such in that we requested additional time because we have faced some difficult decisions, such as tonight as well. And certainly over the last 3-4 years, many difficult decisions have come before us, and it has been truly an honor to work with such dedicated individuals who take that extra time and whatever is needed. And sometimes our community doesn't always see all that's happening behind the scenes, that due diligence that is always taking place. And thank you, Ron, for allowing us to make that happen and understanding when we request those extra time and whatnot to make sure that happens. Appreciate that.
And you saying that, Wendy, just reminds me of during COVID, we probably did double time with all of the Zoom. I mean, it was poor Paul just came onto the board and he's like, oh boy. But hours and hours, and with great leadership. And so anyways.
And during the COVID year, people don't realize this. In 1 year, there were 23 meetings instead of the normal 11. That was crazy.
And one was like hours. And tonight we came early to do our due diligence for what we needed to face.
Okay. Okay. This meeting is now adjourned.
Thank you all for everything you did.
Oh, vote, my bad.
Vote.
One more thing.
All this fun stuff.
We did an adjournment, so we have a motion and a second, and we heard our discussion. We will now call for the vote. Member Benjamin?
Aye.
Member Heredia?
Aye.
Member Polito?
Aye.
Member Stroh?
Aye.
Member Adams? Votes aye. We are now adjourned.
Thank you.